Pisces, you are represented by the Eight of Swords and the Devil. For some of you, there may be a tie to a Capricorn person, but for others of you, you may feel restricted by some kind of limitation, a delay, an obligation, some kind of burden, and you may be going in circles about how to get out of this fix. And perhaps you can't come up with any answers, any kind of resolution. The truth of the matter is, though, that this is a mindset that you are responsible for holding yourself back. You may be holding yourself back because of business concerns, excessive obligations, some kind of compulsion or habit or vice that you're suffering from. This may be some self-imposed limitation. You may be creating boundaries and restrictions around yourself. You're keeping people at arm's length. It could be that you're holding yourself back from sexuality, being intimate. There's some fears about that. So you may be going round and around, trying to work through an issue. And you may feel like you're in a confining situation, something that is oppressive. And again, it may relate to something to do with your past. It could be an ex. It could be having more of a workload. It could be some kind of physical limitation. Could be an addictive behavior. So you are dealing with being limited in some way with regard to your relationship. And it's likely that there's something that has occurred, some kind of delay that is creating some restriction for you within your relationship. Maybe, you were expecting to move forward with something and then some circumstance or situation occurred that you weren't expecting that causes a change in the program. And maybe you feel frustrated by that. It could be somebody, your partner maybe didn't tell you something when they should have, or you didn't deal with something when you should have. And now you feel held back in some way. Now, the Devil card says that, maybe you're dealing again with your thinking. It could be some fear, some depression, some pessimism about something. For some of you, this is you being trapped in a situation with somebody perhaps that you don't want to be in a relationship with, but you refuse to step out of that circle. For others of you, again, you could be overburdened with responsibilities, but there is a fear where you may not want to commit to something. You're holding yourself back from commitment because you feel like maybe a partner is going to want too much from you, or there are going to be too many demands or too many expectations. And maybe you want to have a connection, but that fear keeps you from going too far with it. So you're grappling with that. Now, the Devil says that, you're under the influence of something, or you're wielding a great deal of influence, and how you do that is going to be important. Is it going to be constructively or destructively? Because you do have some power at your disposal to influence a situation. And in fact, you may be limited by your own thinking. You may be influencing yourself simply through your attitude. And you're able to convince your partner or yourself of a situation, whether it's true or not. If you feel like it serves your agenda, then it works. So for you, if you feel trapped, there may be some kind of stroke of luck that frees you, or some kind of idea that you come up with that saves the day. And this may have to do with someone from your past. Again, your ex, or some memories you have that focuses on your chemistry with somebody, a strong attraction, and, possibly sexual chemistry. Maybe you're holding yourself back from that. Or maybe, you've lost the passion, but you're dealing with your memories. And maybe you're feeling sad, or, something has passed away that you felt deeply connected to. Now, the romance is characterized by the Ace of Cups and the World. So you may be, sharing your feelings. Maybe you need to put what you feel out there into the world. For some of you, this is about having compassion regarding something. Maybe there are issues where somebody feels rejected or somebody's grieving, they're unhappy. And so you're having to work with your emotions so that this can be a productive time period for you. In fact, there could be something going on where you just end up feeling grateful or relieved or thankful because of some new turn of events. But for others of you, there's the risk of making a bad situation worse by trying to force something to go your way. You may be very emotional, especially if you're mourning or grieving something. You may be very emotional and it may be difficult for you to see something clearly. There is a lot of emotional force in your situation. There are issues connected to intimacy and love and having a greater awareness. Maybe there's some health issues and you're having to recognize how your emotional health plays upon your physical body. For some of you, there's a new relationship, or maybe you're dealing with a birth or a pregnancy or a new love, or something that emotionally renews you. You're trying to revive a relationship and perhaps where the passion may be lacking. So this could connect to your marriage or your connection to somebody. Now with the World card, you may be dealing with someone who's very different from you. This could be somebody that's foreign. Could be that maybe you're traveling with your partner or you're having a long distance relationship, or you're dealing with someone whose differences you're having to sort through, to reconcile. You're trying to tolerate where you guys are different. Maybe it's a different cultural background. Maybe it's a different philosophy, a religious or spiritual belief, an economic background, something socially. And you're having to compromise on those differences. And maybe something has occurred where it's going to require your compassion or your forgiveness to move forward and make a fresh start. And that's likely to be what you want to do. You want to start over in a situation. You've completed a cycle with somebody, and maybe you're doing an assessment of that. Something may be ending. Maybe you're trying to protect your health or protect someone else. So you're having to look at something and see it for what it is. It's gone full circle and it's coming back around and you're about to start over, start a fresh cycle. So it could be a new attitude, a new way of being, a new love, a new relationship, a new way of being in your relationship. You are wrapping something up, some cycle. It could be a new job, a new residence, something that's going to change things for you. And you're completing something. And in some cases, though, maybe the difficulty is you can't wrap something up. You don't know how to get past an old cycle. You tend to fall back on old habits, old ways of thinking, old behaviors. You can't make those differences reconcile. You can't compromise with the person. And it could be that you have fear of change. You don't know how to move forward and you're blocking change, or that you try to start something, but your heart's not fully in it. And so it doesn't play out the way that you want it to. So, positively, this is feeling a lot of happiness. You're starting a relationship, or there's a new direction in an ongoing relationship. And maybe you're consumed with that. You feel some emotional renewal. And one thing is for certain, you feel compelled to share your feelings about whatever is happening. You may be looking at what your limitations are. You may be holding yourself back. You may feel like you've reached the end of a cycle and you just can't go any further. This is about knowing where the road ends and knowing when you need to say no to something. And so for some of you, you are actually going to tell somebody how you feel, or you're going to be receiving something, a proposal, an offer, a declaration of love. Again, maybe you're renewing your relationship, and you may be surprised by something that occurs, or you may surprise somebody. There could be some romantic gift or some gesture, and maybe you are placing yourself as a willing victim in that Eight of Swords. Maybe this is a love at first sight situation. For some of you, though, you're closing something out and you're sharing your feelings. You feel overwhelmed by that emotion, and maybe what you're sharing leads to some kind of bitter dispute or a hurtful argument. So this may tie to trying to empower yourself in some way and using your intuition as part of that process. You need to trust your instincts about whether this relationship feels right. And you could be very psychically aware, and you need to tune into that. Your intuition is going to reveal something through an encounter. And you need to listen to that intuition on guidance on how to move forward in your relationship. So you're trying to, harness your personal power, your own plans, your dreams, and maybe you need to take charge of a situation. It could be your health, your emotions, or the relationship. Now, why is this occurring?